I want to speak directly to the part of you that feels like you're living with the handbrake on. That constant feeling that there's a bolder, louder, more passionate, and immensely more powerful version of yourself locked in a cage inside. And along with that feeling comes the paralyzing fear of what would happen if you, for even a moment, set it free. The fear that it would destroy your relationship, your career, your reputation. And so you live in a prison of self-containment, feeling the unlived potential vibrating beneath your skin. What if the key to your liberation lies in the very thing you fear most? In the profound philosophy of Carl Jung, the person you most fear becoming is not your enemy. They are, in fact, the guardian of your wholeness. It is an exiled part of his soul, a part he has called the shadow, and the journey to find it, to dialogue with it, and to integrate its power is the only path to his true life. Imagine that your psyche is a kingdom. Your current self, your consciousness, is the king who rules the capital, a safe, orderly, and predictable place. But the strongest warrior in your kingdom, the most passionate queen, and the most brilliant wizard were banished long ago to the dark forests of the shadow, because the king was afraid of their intensity and power. And now the kingdom is at peace, yes, but it is a weak peace, lifeless and without magic. Becoming who you fear is the king's journey into the dark forest, not to kill his exile, but to invite them to return to the royal council and rule by his side. This video is not about facing your fears in a generic, superficial way. It is a precise map, a guide for you to understand why you fear this part of yourself so much, the invisible and high price you pay every day for keeping it repressed, and what is the alchemical, safe, and conscious process to integrate your power and, finally, become a whole human being. What if your fear is not a signal for you to retreat? What if it is, in fact, a flashing neon arrow, pointing directly to the treasure that your soul most needs to recover in order to become whole? The first step on our journey is to give a name and a face to our fear. Often, the pain we feel is a vague and unexplainable anxiety, a feeling of being an imposter in our own skin, a feeling that we are playing a role, but with immense difficulty in identifying exactly what we are repressing or what would happen if we stopped playing. To understand who the me you fear is, we need to go back to our childhood. It is there that our psyche, in order to survive and be loved, learns to divide it. We learn that certain parts of ourselves are acceptable and bring us love and approval. These parts form our persona, our social mask, our armor. And we learn that other parts are unacceptable and bring us punishment, shame, or abandonment. And these parts are banished to the dungeons of our unconscious, forming our shadow. The feared self that haunts you today is the living embodiment of everything that was once considered too much by your family or your culture. Your anger, your ambition, your sensuality, your loud voice, your vulnerability, or your exuberant joy. And here is the revelation that begins to break your chain. You were not born with this fear. It was carefully installed in you. It was a program you learned in order to survive in your original environment. Recognizing that your fear is not a truth about you, but rather a learned program, is the first and most powerful step toward your liberation. You do not fear yourself. You fear the reaction you have been conditioned to expect from the world if you dare to be your full self. To begin mapping the origin of this exile, we invite you to take an exile inventory. Ask yourself with the honesty of a soul archaeologist. When I was a child, what emotions or behaviors were considered wrong, ugly, selfish, or dangerous within my household? Make a list. The person you fear becoming today is most likely the adult, powerful, and heroic embodiment of each of these qualities that were once forbidden. Think of your soul as a wild garden, full of lush and unique biodiversity. But from an early age, the gardeners in your life, with the best or worst of intentions, began to tell you, this flower has too many thorns, cut it off. This one is too fragrant, it will bother others. This one grows too fast, it is too ambitious. And you, in order to be a good garden, learned to prune, pull out, and repress these parts until your inner garden became a safe, predictable, socially acceptable, and deadly boring lawn. The feared self is the memory of your inner jungle, crying out to grow again. Keeping your feared self locked in the basement of the psyche has a cost. And that cost manifests itself as the pain of stagnation. It's the feeling of being bored with your own life, of becoming cynical, bitter, resentful for no apparent reason. And interestingly, it's the tendency to start seeing the traits you fear most in yourself, in everyone around you. The world suddenly seems full of selfish, loud, ambitious people, and this irritates you deeply. What's happening here is that the psychic energy you repress doesn't go away. As Jung taught us, it has to go somewhere, and it usually leaks out in two ways. The first is inward, as anxiety, depression, chronic fatigue, or psychosomatic illnesses. The second, and more common, is outward through shadow projection. We project the exiled parts of ourselves onto other people, and those people who irritate us most in the world are often the ones who are living freely and without guilt, the very qualities that we don't allow ourselves to live. And this is the expectation breaking that can redefine your suffering. Your exhaustion, your burnout, is most likely not caused by overwork. It is caused by the monumental and invisible effort you make every day to keep a gigantic part of yourself imprisoned, and your harsh judgment of others, of their arrogance or drama, is in fact a disguised mourning for your own unlived freedom. You hate in them the very thing your soul secretly yearns for itself. To begin healing this, the invitation is to go on a projection hunt. Think of a public figure, or someone you know, who irritates you deeply. Now, isolate the exact quality that bothers you most about that person. Is it their arrogance? Is it their drama? Is it the way they seem to care nothing about what others think? Now, with this quality in mind, ask yourself courageously, where is my own assertiveness, which I fear is arrogance, suppressed? Where is my own passion, which I fear is drama? Where is my own freedom, which I fear is selfish? Think of keeping your feared self suppressed as the effort of holding a large, colorful beach ball underwater in a swimming pool. It requires tremendous and constant effort. You may succeed for a while, but all your energy and attention are focused on just that, on keeping the ball submerged. And you know what happened. Eventually, through a careless act, the ball will escape with explosive force, jumping out of the water uncontrollably, and usually at the most inopportune moment. Even after we understand the high cost of repressing our feared self, there is still an anguish that remains. It is the deep, self-deprecating belief that this part we have exiled is only negative, destructive, selfish, and monstrous. It is the fear that if we release it, it will only cause pain and destruction, and that there is nothing good or valuable about it. And this is where the journey leads us to its most shocking and beautiful revelation. Jung and his followers observed that we human beings do not repress only our bad or socially unacceptable traits into our shadow. We also repress our most brilliant and powerful gifts. We repress our genius for fear of causing envy. We repress our leadership skills for fear of being seen as authoritarian. We repress our beauty and our attractiveness for fear of being judged as shallow. Your shadow does not just contain your trash, it contains your treasure. This is what we call the golden shadow. And the revelation that changes the game forever is this: the person you fear becoming is not a monster. She is the guardian of your goal. Your ambition, which you fear is selfishness, is the key to realizing your dream. Your powerful voice, which you fear is aggression, is the tool to defend your truths. Your untamed creativity, which you fear is madness, is your connection to the divine. Your natural authority and your overwhelming passion are all locked away in the shadow, waiting to be claimed by you. To begin identifying your own goal, the invitation is to take a gold inventory. Ask yourself with the curiosity of a treasure hunt, what positive quality do I desperately admire in others, but tell myself, like a mantra, this is not for me, or I could never do this. It could be the courage of a friend who speaks in public, the discipline of an athlete you admire, the freedom of an artist who makes a living from his art. This admiration that comes with a feeling of longing and distance is most likely your golden shadow beckoning to you. Think that in your land, in your inner kingdom, you were told since you were a child that there was a dark and scary cave full of demons and danger. And believing this, you avoided it all your life, building your safe cabin far away from it. The truth that you are discovering today is that this cave contains no demons. It contains the purest spring of water and the richest vein of diamond in all your territory. And your fear was the lock that, for all these years, kept you living thirsty and poor, right next to your greatest wealth. After the shocking revelation that your greatest treasure is hidden in that which you fear most, a new pain, more practical and more real, presents itself. It is the pain of how. It's the question: if I let this part out, if I open the cage door, how can I guarantee that this energy won't destroy my life, my relations, and everything I've built with so much effort? This is a legitimate fear that needs to be honored. And the answer to the how is the great key to Jungian alchemy: conscious integration through active imagination. The key is not, in any way, to start acting impulsively from your anger or your repressed ambition. That would be disastrous. The key is, first, to create a safe space within yourself to dialogue with this part of yourself as if it were a real person. It's to give it a voice, to understand its needs and its pains, and only then, after creating an alliance, to begin to integrate its energy constructively and gradually into your conscious life. And the revelation that gives us security to do this is this: your shadow only becomes destructive when it is ignored, repressed, and unloved. When you turn to her with curiosity, respect, and a genuine intention to understand her, she transforms. She stops being a scary monster and reveals herself as your greatest ally. She doesn't want to destroy you. She desperately wants you to become whole. To begin this sacred encounter, the invitation is for a dialogue. Find a place and time when you won't be interrupted. Close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and invite the image of that feared you to appear before you. Then begin asking respectful questions. Ask, who are you? What do you really want from me? What have you been trying to protect me from all these years? What powerful gift do you carry that I have refused to accept? And then just listen. Listen with your heart, with your body. The answer may come in words, in feelings, or in new images. Just receive, without judgment. Finally, negotiate with her a small, symbolic action. If your shadow represents your suppressed voice, negotiate with it that you will, in the next few days, express a small, honest opinion in a safe conversation. Give this energy a small outlet, a constructive expression in the real world. Think of your shadow as a magnificent, wild wolf that you have kept chained in the basement of your house for your entire life. While it is trapped, hungry, and wounded, it is angry, unpredictable, and dangerous. Integration is not opening the basement door and letting it loose so that it can attack the village. Integration is the courageous act of going downstairs every day, bringing it food and water, tending to its wounds, talking to it, and slowly earning its trust. And finally, when the alliance is made, learning to run with it under the full moon as a partner. You do not become the wolf. You become the person who runs with wolves. After this entire journey of inner exploration, the mind may experience one last pain, the pain of unimagination, the inability to even conceive of what a life would be like without the constant weight of this anxiety, this self-censorship, and this repression. Life with the feared self, imprisoned, is the only life you know, and it can be frightening to imagine who you would be without this familiar burden. What happens when your shadow is honored and integrated is not perfection. It is not becoming a person who never makes mistakes or feels pain again. The result is something much more real and powerful. It is wholeness. This is the fruit of Jung's journey of individuation. It is the moment when you stop living as a fragment and begin to live as a whole human being, with access to all your colors, all your notes, all your energy. And what is this life like in practice? The signs are clear and transform your daily life. The first is magnetic presence. Your energy begins to have weight, substance. People feel your presence when you walk into a room. The second is natural boundary. Saying no stops being a drama and becomes a calm and natural act of self-preservation. The third is unlocked creativity. All the energy you use to repress your shadow is now free to create, to build, to solve problems. The fourth is emotional resilience. You stop being afraid of your own emotions because you know you have the strength to contain them. And the fifth is the emergence of authentic connection. You naturally begin to attract people who celebrate your whole self, and not just your nice mask. To begin manifesting this new reality, the invitation is for a courage challenge. A constructive shadow action. Identify a small action that your feared self would take, but that you have always avoided. It might be giving your honest and respectful opinion in a work meeting. It might be signing up for that dance class you think would be ridiculous. It might be asking for that raise you know you deserve. Commit to taking this small action this week and feel the power it unlocks within you. Think of how you were once like a pianist playing a very simple and pleasant melody with just your right hand, while your left hand, underneath the piano, held the lid closed for fear of the deep, powerful, dark notes it might play. Integration is the act of finally opening the piano lid and beginning to use both hands. The music that emerges is infinitely richer, more complex, full of light and shadow, of highs and lows, and it is your true, magnificent, unforgettable symphony. We have journeyed together today from the paralyzing fear of a part of ourselves to the discovery that this same part contained our greatest treasure. We have gone through the diagnosis of the mask, the high cost of repression, and finally, the sacred encounter that allows us to walk toward wholeness. And the central truth that I hope will illuminate your path is this: the person you most fear becoming is not a threat to your life. They are the gateway to your true life. And your mission is not to defeat them, not to vanquish them. It is to welcome them and integrate them into your kingdom. For as wisdom teaches us, what you resist persists. And we might add, what you face, embrace, and integrate transforms you. Authenticity is not a luxury for the few. It is the ultimate medicine for healing the soul. Your fear has been the guardian of your greatest power. Today you learned that it is not a jailer, but a gatekeeper, patiently waiting for the right password. And the password is your courage. Give yourself the permission that no one else in the world can give you. Have the courage to knock on the door of your own depth. Become who you fear to be and finally experience the peace and power of being who you truly are.